Network starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Can you feel that? Tell me, can you feel that? You see it coming? Yeah, let me help you with your vision, they losing their sight here. Time to send the world a message they might hear. Like Meek Mills, I'm making it quite clear. I'm chasing my dreams and fighting my nightmares. I'm going real hard, I'm talking words you understand, I'm talking real bars. I'm going everywhere, you know I'm talking real far. Yeah, it's time to raise a toast to this thing to the Lord the most. As I go from coast to coast, I'm talking north side, I'm talking south side, I'm talking east side, I'm talking west side. I'm going worldwide, I'm going worldwide, I'm going worldwide, I'm going worldwide. Yeah, it's time to let you know how I spit it with the flow. When I go and light a fuse and I set to let it blow. I'm talking worldwide, I'm going worldwide, I'm going worldwide, I'm going worldwide. Yeah, time to check my status and the GOAT is what it be. And you know I'm over 30, so my level is a G. And I may be from the hood, but I'm way beyond these streets. And my pockets hate a diet, so they always down to eat. Even though they screaming fame, and it's always spelling me. And I'll never hang it up till my mission is complete. And I'm looking at you haters, I suggest you take a seat. Cause it's all fun and games to a killer show his teeth. This is for them cats that be screaming homies. Claiming that you're real, but we know you're phony. Now I'm chilling with my sons, they my one and only. Like the Turner brothers, yeah, we screaming lions only. Step into this den, I welcome all who will dare. Never met a David, tell me whom shall I fear? Gotta rep the nation, black and gold is what I wear. If you look to your left, to your right, I'm everywhere. I'm talking north side, I'm talking south side, I'm talking east side, I'm talking west side. I'm going worldwide, I'm going worldwide, I'm going worldwide, I'm going worldwide. Yeah, it's time to let you know how I spit it when I flow. When I go and light a fuse and I set to let.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Roxamore Sports Network here for Western Pennsylvania Golden Gloves Boxing. Travis Newton here with you live alongside Lou McClamey, professional boxer from the Pittsburgh area. They call him the gentleman. Lou, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me here. It's great to be here for the first Golden Glove show. So it's exciting for me. I'm on a different side with the microphone now.
Hey, we're glad to have you. But Lou, we just got introduced to the fighters. A lot of great fights coming up. Tell me what you're expecting here for our opening fights.
Well, typically for the first Golden Glove show, they normally have a lot of these guys that have never fought before. So I'm seeing a lot of nervous jitters, but good skills should come out of this.
And we're getting started with the bantamweights, the small guys, the little ones.
Yeah.
What are you expecting from these younger fighters just getting started into their boxing careers with Golden Gloves?
I see a go button. That's all I see with these kids is they always keep punching. So that's what's entertaining about the kids fighting.
Now let's talk about you a little bit. Made your professional boxing debut just a couple years ago. You're coming off a knockout win.
Yeah.
How's the adjustment been going from amateur boxing to professional?
The training regimen is completely different. And also, too, just the mindset changes as well. From an amateur standpoint, it was always, you know, you're constantly ready to fight every Saturday to you'll fight in 2 months, but you have to be ready to go right now. It's a different world on that side of it. And also, too, with the just being in shape, being disciplined with the eating and everything like that is completely different than being an amateur. So.
All right, Lou, well, we're just minutes away here from the start of the first fight, so we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here on the Roxamore Sports Network and bring you right back to the boxing action live from the Monroeville Mall. We'll see you there.
Thanks.
Welcome back, everyone, here to the Monroeville Mall, live on the Roxamore Sports Network for Western Pennsylvania Golden Gloves Boxing. Travis Newton alongside Lou McClamey as we're getting you introduced on the tail of the tape for our starting fight. Once again, we are in the Bantam final, so this is going to be a championship fight right off the bat for these youngsters. We have Xavier Schaefer and Kaysen off-field getting things started. What are you expecting from this fight?
Well, I'm in the gym actually with Xavier a lot, so I know this kid has a lot of dedication. And he shows great skill, so I'm expecting to see a pretty decent first opening show for these guys. I don't know much about the other kid, but I know if he's coming out to fight, he's coming out to win too, so it should be pretty entertaining.
And of course, Kaysen from the United States Fighting Academy, so he's going to have some pretty good training there, but you can't go against Hiawatha Hudson, Coach Boom.
Yeah,
you know he has a load of boxing experience, so you know that Xavier's going to be coming in and ready to fight and having some pretty good technical skills for a youngster.
That's very true, and also too, I mean, great coaches. The coaches aren't fighting the fight for the kids, so they together both Hiawatha and USS Fight Academy over there, they bring years worth of experience to the ring for experience-wise for these kids in the corner, but it doesn't always translate for the fighters. It doesn't make the fighters great, but it can definitely boost their confidence a little bit.
So we're getting the introductions on the ring now, so we will take you there here live on the Roxamore Sports Network from the ring as the fighters are getting introduced. We'll see you at the fight. So once again, in the blue trunks, Kaysen off-field from the USS Fight Academy, and then in the red trunks, Xavier Schaefer from Boyce Gymnasium. Once again, these are 65 pounds and the Bantamweight final. And here we go, the first fight from the Pennsylvania Golden Gloves Boxing, live on the Roxamore Sports Network.
No, you're fine.
Kaysen coming out pretty aggressive.
Yep.
Nice
These kids are already
there.
throwing.
And this is exactly what you were expecting in the opening fight. The youngsters coming out, using that energy that those young kids have. Of course, getting as older adults here, we don't have quite the energy, but they're coming out as a nice right hand landed there.
And that's it, too. And most of the time for these kids, they're fighting only a minute round, so there is no settling time. They just have to continue to keep punching. And, I mean, they could have this fight in a phone booth, but they're doing extremely well for where they are right now. We got USS Fight Academy over there. These kids moving really well. He's using, as much of the corner of the ring as he can. But we scored a little bit of a knockdown here.
A little
That's
bit
okay.
in between there, the knockdown. They're going to go ahead and give him the count. Looks like Xavier Schaefer is okay. They're going to check him there, and here he comes. Just a few seconds left.
That's it. Round's already over, but I think it was definitely a really good first round for them. I think it was just a little bit of nervous jitters that may have helped knock them down, but at the same time, we have USS Fight Academy already, using the ring generalship, moving around very well. And we have Xavier, he's coming straight forward, which it could benefit him to cut the ring off a little bit more to slow this kid down, if that's his MO is to keep moving. But we'll definitely see what adjustments these kids have in the second round, if any at all. Yeah, again, they are kids, so.
And we see Coach Hudson in the corner there with his fighter, Xavier Schaefer, telling him to move around a little bit. Of course, in that first round, defense wasn't at too much of a premium. A lot of nice blows there. Watch out for the right hand by Kaysen off-field. He connected on a couple of them there and shook Xavier a little bit, but we'll see how they come out here in round two.
Yeah, it's always that first round that you just get a lot of nerves, and the jitters have to really settle down, but we'll definitely see. So these kids are now, they're trading now a little bit, so that's definitely good, but he's going back to ring generalship, so that's definitely a bonus in his corner.
Xavier Schaefer doing a better job here in the second round, getting some movement, but a nice right hand by Kaysen off-field.
So just a little bit more defense out of Xavier would just greatly improves his odds of cutting the ring off. But if he keeps getting hit with that overhand right, it just won't go very well, or it could start stealing away confidence.
Oh, but on the other side, a nice right landed there and follows up a nice two-piece with the right and to the left.
Definitely, yeah. So he's definitely doing well with this round. He's starting to settle a little more and find out what's working, what's not working for him. Actually, both of them are.
So a good second round there, trading blows. If you had to score it right now, who do you think has the advantage?
You know what? At this point, I would definitely call it 1-1 for both of them, because that first round, him just scoring that 8-round or 8-second count, definitely just kind of goes in USS Fight Academy's favor. But this last round, I definitely would give to Xavier, just because he put on a little bit more pressure and he was connecting a little bit more successfully as he was coming forward. So that just shows he's using effective aggressiveness.
So if the scorekeepers here have the same thoughts of you, a lot on the line here in the third and final round. If we're all squared up 1-1, a chance for a champion to premiere here. Of course, this is the Bantam final, the first bout of the Golden Gloves Boxing, live from Western Pennsylvania. And let's talk a little bit about the boxing community. It's obvious these kids are very young, usually 9, 10-year-olds. When did you get your start in boxing, and what do you think is the appropriate age to start getting in the ring?
You know, actually, as young as possible, because I wasn't blessed with the age on my side. I actually started training when I was 20, and I didn't have my first fight until I was 24. So I'm 29 now, so in retrospect, I've had a short career, but I've gained a lot of experience. The boxing community has definitely helped around this area with that too, just being that everybody here is willing to pass along information and knowledge, to the next generation. It makes it a lot easier. But here in this last round, like we were saying, it comes down to grit and heart in this last one, because, if both coaches, are aware that, this is coming down to the wire on this last round, so these kids have got to go for gusto on it.
Both fighters trading blows. It started off at the beginning. Off-field was favored.
Doing some beautiful
and here
slipping.
comes Xavier Schaefer laying some heavy blows on the head of off-field, and the bell rings, and a little bit of a late push there for Xavier Schaefer. He may have earned a win there in that final part of the last round.
I would believe so, but it's all back up to the judges and how they see this fight going. But I definitely think that was a beautiful last round for Xavier.
And definitely some great effort from both fighters. Doing a good job at coming in, being aggressive, hands up. Not too much defense, but certainly a lot of nice right hands by both fighters.
Absolutely. And I definitely like USS Fight Academy and just their way that they use ring generalship. He always trains all of his guys to use every square inch of that ring, and that kid definitely did it tonight. So no shame in whatever decision goes which way for either one of these kids. They both put on a beautiful performance.
Case in off-field looks a little bit frustrated in his corner there in the blue trunks. It was a good fight as we come down to the decision here.
Yeah, that can definitely happen too. Sometimes, even though you might have won, you still might have feel that you could have done a little bit better. But it's just the competitive edge in some people, where they know they could have done a little bit more pushing. But I definitely don't think he should regret anything that he did do in there tonight.
So we're taking the time to wait for the decision. Coming up next, we have the Super Novice quarterfinal at 165 pounds. That'll be Tyrone Scott Wells and then Brandon Mahan, once again from Boyce Gymnasium.
Check. Test. Can you guys hear me in the back over here? All right, how about now?
So Boyce hoping to get their first win of the evening here in the opening bout. Coach Hiawatha Hudson. They call him Coach Boo in the gym, of course, one of your coaches throughout your career.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'd like to thank the Roxamore Sports Network. It is a local owned and operated company.
So, yeah, Hiawatha, he comes from Virginia. He has just a really different outlook on boxing, but it does translate very well into some fighters that are very elusive or people that just want to heighten their boxing skills and talents.
And while we're still waiting here, let's talk a little bit about boxing in Pittsburgh. Of course, it's not one of the most premier spots in the boxing community, and especially when you're beside Philadelphia, the town known for its boxing. But how have you seen the uprising of professional boxing in the Pittsburgh community, even the amateurs kind of rise up through Pittsburgh boxing?
It's very different for me because I've definitely seen and been with a lot of these guys as they've moved from amateur world to the professional world. And what I will say is I wish that we had the same camaraderie, but we do have the announcement coming up here.
Mr. Cooper from Colorado, come on up.
All right, here we come with the announcements for the winner of this first Golden Glove bout.
All right, I'd like to run me Mr. Cooper from Colorado. If you look around, all the boxers, all the referees.
So a packed house here in this little gym in the Monroeville Mall. A nice turnout for Western Pennsylvania Golden Glove boxing.
Very impressed with the seating arrangements they have here.
Decision of the evening.
So here we go with the first decision of the night. And the winner, Xavier Schaefer, gets the win. So Boyce Gymnasium showing out in the first bout. And is that the decision you were expecting?
It was a little bit for me because, again, I went back to effective aggressiveness for Xavier where he was pushing the action. Even though USS Fight Academy had phenomenal footwork, he used every square inch of the ring. It does still come down to who's pushing the action and who's willing to trade a little bit more. Not saying that either kid was denying the fight, but it just comes down to who's willing to push it. So definitely no argument in my eyes from that decision at all. But and again, over in the corner here, none of the coaches are discouraged with the decision.
The referee addresses the boxers in the ring. This will be a 150.
Say that again.
This will be a 152-pound novice contest.
So we're actually switching things up here in the order. Instead, it'll be Elijah Bray taking on Andrew Izat. Bray out of the USS Fight Academy and Izat out of the Southside Gymnasium. This will be a novice fight at 152 pounds.
Elijah has had a very short career, but he has fought a lot. He's fought 2 to 3 times in one single week, and that was his first time fighting. So first fight, he won, and then he went back, did it again, and then he went back and did it again. So it's very interesting to see somebody. That's a lot of heart and a lot of determination to get somewhere in the sport.
Very interesting talking about that short carryover, of course, from your first professional fight. It was about 1.5 years until your next fight. Were there any reasons kind of for that long layover, or is it just a personal preference?
No personal preference. I was actually trying to get probably 3 fights in, but after that. But what ends up happening a lot of times when you turn into a professional fighter is it goes back to politics. Some guys are willing to risk their record a little bit more than others. Or, it just comes down to, can you produce enough to get another fight going?
And Bray showing off that left hand here. He's landed a couple of nice blows early on, but some good constant pressure by Izat.
So again, back to the USS Fight Academy. They believe in using every square inch of that ring and his beautiful footwork. But again, it comes back down to pushing that pace a little bit more. Elijah's doing very well at throwing some I would call novice punches, where he's not just throwing punches just aimlessly. He's actually putting things together and trying to make something of it. So it's doing very well, but. From the first fight we've seen already, there's a little bit more defense, not a whole lot, but they're a little bit more cautious, and these are some pretty heavy guys as well. So.
I'd like to see Bray early on be a little bit more active with that right hand. He's been very active with the left, but it seems the right just a little heavy to start this first round.
Yeah, that's definitely one thing that was always taught to me, was like follow up every punch, and end everything on the jab. So you never want to just leave something hanging in the wind. You always want to follow it up.
And the guys here in this second bout, definitely boxing in a closet, no breathing room as they're going to tie up here. And now they'll be split up as we're approaching the end of the first round. And there we see a right by Bray, nearly connecting, but just kind of grazing off the headgear there.
All right, if there's a representative from Akron, please come in on the table.
Yeah, so these kids are really good shape, for where they're at right now. Don't see any fatigue in either one of them. Both of them are actually standing up in both their corners, so, that's just a sign of that I'm in shape and ready to go. So we'll see what happens. The first round's always nervous jitters, even though Elijah's had a few fights in before. But you never know what happens. So we'll definitely see this second round. We'll see what kind of adjustments.
And talk to me a little bit about those first fight jitters. Of course, for some of these guys, this is their first premier fight. Of course, you mentioned Bray has a little bit of experience, but what are some of the feelings that you get, even from your experience from your first professional fight, that kind of alter the way you set up for a fight?
I mean, the first round jitters are everything. It's the closest experience you can get to jumping out of a helicopter. You have every emotion running through you. And, what it is, too, is it's your coach and your team side. In the other corner over there, we have Matt Layshaw, who actually I worked with for a number of years, who just told me once you settle down, you'll start to see the clear picture. And we're already starting to see a little bit now where, their hands are a little bit higher. They're on their cheekbone now versus just kind of hanging low, chest level. So now those jitters are starting to waver down a little bit more. They're starting to use a little bit more of their boxing senses. And that's all it is, those first jitters. You can be angry, you can be happy, you can be sad. In that first round, you have no idea. And then it all fades away, and then everything just clears up.
Izat doing a good job working the body here. Now comes up high with the right hand on Bray. A little bit of a break in the action there. A little bit of showmanship, too, flashing that left hand before the right-handed punch.
Yeah, I like to see it, but I wish he were to see something a little bit more. I'd hate to see him do it lackadaisical and then get caught in between that.
Now we have a timeout called. Looks like Izat lost his mouthpiece there, so he'll get that put back in. Of course, we don't want him fighting without it as we return back to action.
The losing a mouthpiece, it could be a number of things. It could be maybe he is a little bit tired, or maybe he's just hanging his mouth open just a little bit, where one little punch on the top of the head can just, pop it out. But we'll definitely see what he makes of this.
Once again, Elijah Bray with the red gloves out of the USS Fight Academy, and then Andrew Izat in the blue gloves out of Southside Gym. Nice exchange there by Bray, and follows it up with an impressive left hand.
So yeah, they're definitely willing to trade, and Elijah's doing the right thing where he'll trade, and then he'll get back on his horse and use his legs and make him trail him all the way to the other side of the ring. So that can be detrimental for another fighter, even though he might have won the earlier exchange. But now he has to walk and think about that all the way coming over to Elijah again. So that's very interesting.
Bray once again landing a left. And there in the second round, we saw both fighters chirping at each other a little bit. Of course, in boxing, you're right there with your opponent. What's your strategy on trash talk personally when you're boxing?
I've definitely been in with a lot of guys, and some of the guys, like it does something for them where it just trash talking a little bit, but for me, absolute silence. Because the second I give in to them, that means mentally they're beating me. So I'll just complete utter silence throughout the whole fight until my coach takes out my mouthpiece.
After the fight, of course, the trash talk can begin, at least if you're on the winning side, which you have been in your first two bouts.
Well, you know what? Even as an amateur when I lost, I still shook their hands and was very gentlemanly to them after the fight was over.
And that brings us to a great conversation here. Of course, your alias in boxing is the Gentleman. How did you come across that nickname, and how did it really start for you?
It was a very interesting thing. So many people, they would see me walking across the gym or something like that, and a lot of them thought that I worked for T-Mobile. I was there to reset somebody's phone. And just always had a willingness to help everybody. That was a beautiful check hook, by the way. And just a willingness to help everybody that was in the gym and outside of the gym. And then I never really opened up with that temperament that a lot of fighters do have to where they can be called like mean or aggressive. So Actually, the coach that's in there now, Matt Leish on the other side, he's just like, you were so gentlemanly about everything. That can just be your name. And we were talking about it in the gym, and then it just stuck one day. So I've been running with it ever since, and it just fits me.
Here in the third round, Elijah Bray wreaking havoc with that left hand. You mentioned it there midway through, and another nice checkup right on the face of Izat there.
And what that is, too, that check hook is he's settling down. He's not putting so much oomph on it. He's trying to set it up beautiful, and he's listening to his coaches in his corners telling them to settle down. You don't have to put so much on it. Now he's landing with, almost 100% accuracy with that check hook.
So Elijah Bray has really been relying on that left hand throughout the fight in the southpaw stance. Now against the ropes, maybe an opportunity for Izat to get a couple blows here as they went to the clinch but then broke it up.
Yeah, in my opinion, for Izat, for the way that check hook's landing on him, he's definitely got to make those close encounters count where, you're throwing 3-4 combinations to offset those clean shots that he has been taking. Because in the judge's eyes, it could just look that, Elijah's just, beating him to dust, and he's just kind of standing there as a heavy bag, which you don't want.
And, of course, we don't have the exact numbers on these athletes, but Elijah Bray with a little bit of an advantage in the reach category, and he's like to keep his distance, use that left hand. We saw him getting a little bit bothered there in the later parts of the third round when they got in close together.
Yeah, which was nice. I think he could have utilized his jab a little bit more in the second and third round, but he made up for it very well with the check hook. But again, like I said, I was just taught to, you end with the jab and you start with the jab. It could have just made a close fight a kind of a landslide victory for him, where he's just using that length he has.
So once again, we're going to go to the decision here, of course, in the amateur boxing. The thicker gloves, the headpieces, you're not going to see as many of the knockouts, but not going to rule out a knockout, of course, but
that's true.
We're going to see a few decisions here today.
Yeah. In this case, though, I definitely would think USS Fight Academy pulled it off. I think Elijah boxed very well. Not taking anything away from blue corner here, but it's just back to just using a little bit more ring IQ, and I think Elijah definitely did that a little bit better.
Jimmy Savetic, when he meant to this sport, so...
So once again, we'd like to welcome everyone here to the Roxamore Sports Network live for Pennsylvania Golden Glove Boxing from the Monroeville Mall. I'd like to thank you for joining us, reminding you to go to our website, www.roxamoresports.com, for the remaining Golden Glove schedule after today. Once again, this is novice fight between Elijah Bray and Andrew Izat.
Look at the scores here. So far, our first two matches have made it real tough on our judges. But, that being said, out of the red court, Elijah Bray.
Yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with that decision there. Both guys performed beautifully. It just comes back down to, how do you use the tools that's in your toolbox? And Elijah did that a little bit better, in my opinion.
So Elijah Bray getting the win here in the second bout of the day from Pennsylvania Golden Gloves. So a good fight there, but just more connections for Bray throughout the fight.
Yeah, I think if he definitely would have used those close encounters a little bit more to his favor, he might have skated off with the win or made it an even closer.
So while we have a chance, we're going to run a quick commercial. We'll be right back for boxing here on the Roxamore Sports Network. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Roxamore Sports Network. Travis Newton here on the call alongside professional boxer Lou McClamey. We now move to the junior final. These kids are going to be 90 pounds, and we get things started in the blue corner with Isaiah Ash out of Steel Valley Boxing, and then in the red corner, Blaze Baker out of Jack's Gym.
Jack's Gym has been around for quite some time, and he's got a long resume of amateur fighters. So we're definitely going to see some good boxing skills coming out of these guys, even for 95-pound kids. Like they throw like they know what they're doing, and the defense gets a little bit better with every fight that keeps going on. So I like what we're seeing already.
And just looking at them for 90 pounds, two relatively tall fighters in the ring right now.
And you know what this kid out of the blue corner is doing that we haven't seen in the previous fights is he's using his feints to kind of draw out something from the red corner, which is definitely, something I haven't seen yet. And I definitely like to see that a little bit more. And what it does, too, when you do feints like that, it can steal time away or give you time to relax and settle back down.
So Blaze Baker pushing the issue here, trying to stay in close with Isaiah Ash, and meanwhile Isaiah Ash trying to keep that distance.
Some really nice boxing on the inside from both of them. Nice defense. They just started moving their hands a little bit.
And here at 90 pounds, let's talk about someone who's a little bit heavier than 90 pounds, and we're going to have the heavyweight championship tonight with Tyson Fury and, of course, Deontay Wilder. Just tell me your predictions for that fight, what you think's going to happen, and the kind of fight it's going to be.
It's definitely going to be a real interesting fight, and I think of it in the same respects from Triple G and Canelo, when they went back and dueled it over. So they both know what they're both bringing to the table now, so now it's going to be, who's going to utilize that a little bit more. I definitely think if Tyson Fury boxed just the same way he did, he could come out, with another unanimous win. But if Wilder comes out and starts, throwing those bombs, and Fury's willing to stand in there and trade with him, I don't think it could go the full 12 rounds. So it could be very different. What I would love to see is Tyson Fury try to play in a little bit on Wilder's inside game to see where he's at on that, but I guess we won't know until later tonight.
And, of course, in their first match, Fury basically a 12th round knockdown away from being the champion in their first fight, and he still believes he won even though he got knocked down in the 12th. And just speaking about that knockdown, it looked like he was out cold. Have you ever seen anything like that before where someone appears to be incoherent and then they just get up out of nowhere?
No, nothing like that, especially in the heavyweight division. I mean, you got guys over 200 pounds, so it's almost being hit with like a 10-pound weight, so, and we're talking about one of the most devastating punchers of today or boxing in general. He it hits you twice with that, and you can still rise up after, almost not beating a 10 count. It is an extraordinary feat to see.
So once again, quick rounds here with the smaller guys. We've seen more defense than we've seen in the previous two fights in this one, but still doing a good job working the hands in close, and a tightly contested fight early on here through 2 rounds.
Yeah, it definitely is, and got a little bit of blood coming from the nose and red corner, but it could be from anything. That's the other thing, too, is a little bit of blood can persuade the judges one way or another, so you definitely want to get that off and get it cleaned up as best as possible. You don't want that lingering around and let the judges get swayed one way or the other.
So we're going to the third and final round here from the junior final. Once again, 90 pounds. In the red corner from Jack's Gym, Blaze Baker, and then in the blue corner from Steel Valley, Isaiah Ash.
We still got Jack's corner over here. He's still standing up. So these kids are definitely in great shape, and conditioning is not a question for any of these kids right now.
So both fighters ready to start the third and final round here live on the Roxamore Sports Network. Coming out swinging, they know what's on the line. The first 2 rounds pretty even between both boxers, so you definitely want to make your impact here in the final round.
You see, red corner, he's already pushing the pace a little bit more because he might feel this fight could be slipping away, or he wants to seal the deal and just throw a little bit more of those combinations.
So now Isaiah Ash has him in the corner. Blaze Baker did a good job of closing him in there on that near corner. So he's exchanging some nice blows.
So he's moving well on that back foot, but he needs to throw a little bit more punches while he's moving backwards. He just can't just skate backwards and give that illusion that, something could have hurt him to where this other kid from the red corner could rush him.
Now Blaze Baker doing a good job boxing in tight there. Had a chance at a big shot, but just missed. So just a few seconds left here in the final round from the junior final.
And again, we're talking to that back foot pressure where he's just walking backwards. He's using his back foot, but if he were to throw punches off that back foot, I think he definitely could have done a little bit better and not get trapped in the corner so easily. But still, all around, another great fight for the night.
So once again, we're going to the decision for the junior final. Who do you think has the advantage after 3 rounds?
You know what? Again, I'm going to give it to another red corner. I think he did beautiful work coming forward, and those little traps in the corner where he set, where he just started making them pay for being there too long, can definitely pay dividends in the long run. So we'll definitely see which one they favor.
So good sportsmanship here as both sides congratulate each other's coaches before we go to the decision.
It's all that time of training and all that work in a heavy bag and running.
So once again, Isaiah Ash from Steel Valley Boxing, and then Blaze Baker in the red from Jack's Gym as we go to the decision here live on the Roxamore Sports Network.
Where's our 50-50 sales at? Over in the back here. Please, and support our 50-50 sales. Hold your hand up. Hold those big yellow tickets
And
up.
Lou, we've seen some pretty good boxing so far from the youngsters. You mentioned your late start to boxing. What do you think you missed out on because of that late start, whereas some of these guys getting into it when they're 4 or 5 years old and boxing for 4 years once they're 10 years old?
What it is when you're starting young, you have that time to build up muscle memory for a lot of the punches, a lot of the movement, and it just sticks with you, that whole time learning boxing fundamentals. So now you have a larger time of remembering that from your beginning years versus trying to do, a speed rush, where you're cramming everything in. You can do it, but it can be difficult. You can almost lose pieces of it along the way. And it's something that you don't want to do, but some people can do it and still be great at it.
And then on the other side, what advantages do you think you got because you started so late going into boxing?
Mental acuity, where starting later and being more of an adult makes me see fighting a lot different. A kid would have more emotions running through him whenever he's fighting, but an adult can hone down those emotions a little bit better. So we're coming up to the decision now.
We'll get the final ruling.
The winner, boxing out of the red corner, Blaze Baker.
And once again, the red corner has been fruitful for these boxers today. Blaze Baker getting the win like you predicted. And what do you think the reasoning is that he got that unanimous decision?
Again, I think it's the way he set up the traps for catching the blue corner in the corner, where, again, if blue corner would have used his back step, which he did beautifully, and using his jab in a combination with it to keep him off, would have made that a lot harder to set those traps.
So far, our 3 winners in the Bantam final, we had Xavier Schaefer. In the novice fight, we had Elijah Bray out of the USS Fight Academy. And then in the junior final, we just saw Blaze Baker get the win. So before our next fight, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned for more boxing here live on the Roxamore Sports Network.
I started boxing when I was a kid, and I competed in the Golden Gloves. I started coaching boxing in probably late 90s. 2000, we opened this gym, which is the 3rd Avenue Gym. We started, the scholarship was in 2012. How you qualify for it? We set a 3-fight policy, which as long as you're registered for the USA Boxing, you're registered to compete, you're going to school, you're within this family. You're within the boxing family. Donations are made out to the WPAL, Western Pennsylvania Police Athletic League. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, so donations are tax deductible. Contact me on my cell phone, 412-965-0703, or you can reach me by email at manningrdm147@netscape.net.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Roxamore Sports Network, live from the Monroeville Mall for Pennsylvania Golden Glove Boxing. We now move to the 100-pound fighters. In the red corner, we have Regis Schultz from Wolfpack Gym, and then on the other side, Justin Eldinger from Gloria's Gymnasium. Once again, this is the 100-pound fight, so we're bumping up 10 pounds from the previous one. So a little bit more weight, a little bit heavier blows, and a little bit more age to kind of maneuver through the fight.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be one of Gloria's first fighters that she put out of her gym. It actually comes out of here in the mall on the other side, is Gloria's boxing gym. And Wolfpacks, they've been around for years, so definitely see we'd come out already swinging.
Eldinger coming out with a heavy hand with the right. With both fighters, a little bit of a different fight from the previous, more offense here.
Just hoping that he can keep up this pace. You know, whenever you got a guy starting out that fast like that, he can typically burn himself out, you know, where he might be dead in the second round, if not the first.
And Regis Schultz doing a good job coming out fast. And from Schultz, we see a very high and looping right hand that could potentially open him up to a punch on the opposite side.
Yeah, you know, he's keeping that right hand, you know, tucked in front of his chin, but he should really have it on the side of his face, you know, just in case something comes around the side. He's already has something in the way with that jab hand hanging out in the front.
Now Schultz showing off the defensive moves, going under the rope there.
Yeah, so this is those first round jitters I was talking about, and it's starting to settle down a little bit more. So now we're just going to see what happens, you know, for the later fight.
Justin Eldinger doing a good job as he gets rocked there, takes a step back, a nice right hand.
And just like he was taught, you know, he's taught to try to finish him. You got to go for it. You see a guy hurt and stumble back that far, you got to keep throwing.
So a good first round there from Regis Schultz out of Wolfpack Gym. He stunned him a little bit there with that right, went in for the finish, couldn't get it, so we're going to round 2.
Yeah, and a lot of times what you see, too, is like a lot of guys, whenever they try to go for that killer, they end up throwing themselves out of position, too, where now they could get countered for trying to go for the kill.
So we're here getting ready for the start of the second round in the 100-pound weight class. We're joined now by Hiawatha Hudson. He was a coach. Now he threw on this suit. He's ready to go. Coach Boo, how's it going?
Oh, man, it feels good right now, guys. I mean, that was a great win. That was his first fight. He's geek right now. I mean, I was very excited for him as well. So everything went accordingly to plan.
So here we go. Second round action live on the Roxamore Sports Network. 100 pounds, Regis Schultz from Wolfpack against Justin Eldinger in Gloria's Gym. Schultz in the first round landed a nice right hand that stunned Eldinger a little bit.
That was a good left he just landed in that round.
Yeah, you know what? He's still feeling those effects from that first round where he feels that he still can keep that pressure on this kid and potentially get him out of here, but he's got to be careful not to get, you know, countered in the process of being that aggressive.
Yes. And it's easy to get caught in the exchange. Ooh, like that.
So Eldinger just sitting back a little bit here in the second round.
Ooh.
All right. So, again, you know, he's using the ring generalship so well that he should not just lay in the corner and let this kid throw at him. He should continue to keep moving and keep pumping his jab out. He seems like he has a little bit longer reach than this kid.
Yes, he has a lot longer reach. Oh, but he just got caught with that overhand.
So
He just got to
Schultz
keep.
now.
To me, he seemed like he just has to keep his distance.
Yeah, definitely. And what he's doing now, where he's clamming up and letting this kid come back into the fight, even though he had him hurt in the first round and a little bit in the second one, he needs to keep him off him with that jab.
Down to the final seconds here of the second round. Not too much going on there, but some nice strategic boxing on both sides.
Yeah, these are those rounds that go to not the avid or the actual avid boxing watcher, where they can kind of pick and dissect that first round or that second round a little bit better, and just to see what was going on. And the judges should be looking at that as well. They shouldn't just be seeing people just slug it out. They should be looking for little skill sets while the round's going on to make a determination of who won.
The one thing I can say though is actually being here and walking and watching these different coaches and the different events. I know for a fact the Wolfpack coaches, their biggest thing is pressure. They love applying pressure with the fighter. As you could tell, every time that kid would climb up and throw his hands up, like the kid was coming in with a lot of pressure. Right at that point, watch. Just watch the way he comes in with this pressure in a little bit. And I know that's how they're trained there at Wolfpack. Look.
Yeah, he switched it up a little bit more in this last round, where he's not going forward as much until now. But he started that first 10 seconds off pretty decent, where he's figuring out what's going on a little bit.
Oh!
And you see him with that left hand kind of nudging his opponent toward the ropes, trying to get him in a corner where he can unleash a few blows in a row.
Yeah, the other thing that as being that they're amateurs right now, is they definitely want to get away from leaning back away from punches versus bending at their knees and slipping the punches down and in towards their opponent.
So Regis Schultz, we believed, had an advantage going into this third and final round, and he's amping the
He's constantly landing
that
that right, that overhand right. Ooh! See what
nice
I told
body
you?
work.
That's that pressure. I know those guys out there, man. They teach that over and over and over again. Right there.
So again, that's what I'm talking about, that leaning back away from it. Sometimes you're not all the way out of the way of that punch.
So a few rights in a row here from Regis Schultz as we get a tie up. Final seconds here of the third round.
Final seconds. He's still pushing a little bit more action there. Beautiful.
So after those 3 rounds, you think we're going to stick with the good luck in the red corner, or switching it up to the blue here after this one?
I'm definitely going to give it to the red corner again, because, again, a lot of things go back to so much of who's willing to push the action. Or if you are going to be on the back foot, you have to be able to do it in such an effective manner that it's back to like a landslide, where that person has never hit you, you've tagged them over and over again, and you've got out of the way of everything they've thrown at you, and you're still gone. So you almost want to be a ghost in that respect whenever you're fighting off the back foot. So that's just in my opinion.
Just for your information, we have 8 matches on the card this evening. We're going to run it straight through with no intermission, so if you need 50-50 tickets, you need to buy a t-shirt.
So once again, we are going to the decision. We believe that Schultz had the advantage through 3 rounds as he went against his opponent, Justin Eldinger. As Lou mentioned, across the mall here in the Monroeville Mall.
He does a lot of the matchmaking here for Golden Gloves, and has recently started moving into the ranks of professionals in the matchmaking and promoting. So, good expect.
A prediction. All right, on this fight here, I definitely would give it to the red corner, just again for that aggressive effectiveness. He came forward and he made him pay, and he's throwing combinations whenever he would clam up just a little bit to get off, enough to seal the deal for this fight.
That right hand he landed in the first round definitely helped his cause pause as well.
Yes.
Knock back the opposing fighter into the corner and definitely see it stunned him a little bit.
Yeah, and being that these are still younger kids, it could have been ruled for an 8 count.
Boxing out of the red corner,
Sorry. Announcing again out of the red corner. So,
and that's the thing. Like I was just saying, I knew for a fact that he was going to apply that pressure in that last round because that's all they teach. And the thing, if the kid out of the blue corner, if he could have just kept his distance, because as you can see, the kid was coming in. He had his head down a lot of the times. He was throwing that overhand right. But if the kid out of the blue corner could have kept that jab pumping and kept the jab on him, it would have been an easy fight all night.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Is back to that jab.
So we're going to go ahead and go to a commercial break here in between fights. We'll be right back on the Roxamore Sports Network.
Trouble can find anyone. At Frank Walker Law, we take the time to understand your situation and work tirelessly on your behalf. Hard-hitting representation when you need it the most. A real law firm getting real results.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Roxamore Sports Network. Travis Newton alongside professional boxer Lou McClamey, and of course Coach Boo joining us as well. Coach Boo, let's have a little bit of a talk here. Of course, here in amateur boxing, you've been working with young fighters for your entire life. What is some of your advice for these boxers just now getting into the amateur boxing scene?
The amateur, and the thing they got to understand that these records in the amateurs really don't mean much. The amateurs is getting you ready for the pros. Okay, so some of these guys get it and they think they have to be so honed right now, but it takes time to get to hone your skills to where you can be calm in the ring. But at this level right here, I mean, the guys, the calmness is going to come later. It's just they have to take the time and literally hone their skills as they go along, you know?
So we're getting ready to get things started here. It's going to be Nick Holscher out of Jack's Gym against Andrew Mish from Brownson House Boxing, 178 pounds, the Sub-novice quarterfinal.
We got a lot of bombs getting thrown with these big guys here now, so it's definitely a different sound whenever you hear that clack.
Oh.
And those are some of the differences you notice going from 100 pounds and adding almost double that weight, going up to 175. These punches are going to be heavy, and there's going to be some force behind them.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, everything they throw is with intent. And you know what he's doing is he's doing a lot of slips. He's rolling while he's punching. And he's closing in that distance very well for being the shorter guy. The taller guy here out of the blue corner, he's starting to use his jab a little bit more, and he's starting to realize now that he's got to definitely keep him away from him.
Yes, because the kid in the red corner, ooh, you see that jab? That was a good hard jab. But I tell you, he need to keep him at a distance, keep him on the end of the punches like that, where his power can be shown in the ring. But if you keep letting him get inside, it's going to be a rough night for him.
Yeah.
So once again, Nick Holscher in the red corner, Andrew Milch in the blue corner. Milch with a little bit of a reach advantage, a taller fighter here at 178 pounds.
Maybe use some good head control there. Nice check hook right over the top.
Yes, nice check hook. That was
And whatever he's doing now, like whenever he gets too close, you know, he's closing up. He's getting tighter as the punches get a little tighter, and he's redirecting him and stepping out to the opposite side, which is really good for a tall fighter.
Yes.
Both fighters come out orthodox, and another right hand landed there, a combination there with the right left.
So even in that first round, throughout the whole time, these boys still had some pop behind every last one of those punches, which was really good. I hope they keep it up for the second round.
And once again, we see a little bit of blood on the nose here in the right corner, so they're going to clean that up as we approach the second round. A well-fought first round there. What were some of the strategies you noticed from both corners?
And I feel as long as he can keep him at the end of that jab, like he's doing, like he can keep that nose, he can keep that blood flowing. But the thing, he has to keep him at the end of his punches. He can't keep letting him walk inside and get inside of all his shots. And I can see now that they're readjusting his headgear, the kid out of the blue corner. But that shows you that up jab that the kid out of the red corner was throwing had a lot of pop on it.
All right, so we're starting that second round here now, so we'll see, if those little adjustments from the first round are going to make any difference in the second one.
We have fighters go to the corner for the start of the second round. Of course, all these fights, 3-round fights, as we have a little bit of a mess to clean up there on the other corner. And here we go, second round action.
A nice, hard, stiff jab coming right out. There that's some beautiful punching right there. Again, for the red corner, if he can keep that momentum going forward, but he has to keep moving his head. He has to be off that line, to where he doesn't get popped again.
And that's the thing. Like he's throwing a good jab. He's throwing it with a lot of power. It's just that he's not getting his head offline.
Yeah.
Because you know as well as I know, Luella, that when you throw whatever you throw, you got to take your head offline because the kid is going to throw where your head was at.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, what we call it in the gym, taking a picture.
Yes.
Whenever you're throwing that punch, you're standing there for the photo op.
And Holscher, while you guys were talking there, a nice left-handed jab that pushed back Mish a little bit. These guys starting to get a little bit tired. You see the punches slowing down here in the second round.
That was a great hook right there. That was a great hook.
You know what I think would have helped too for the blue corner is if he could keep his chin down a little bit more, it would stop that hair from flying all over the place when he gets nailed right on the chin. Just keep it tucked, and the effects will just go straight down.
So Holscher doing a good job pushing the envelope here in the second round. We believe he had the advantage in the first, and he's coming out strong once again. As Mish now trying to answer back. And Hiawatha Hudson, we talked to you earlier about how you work with people. Whenever you're working with the kids that are really young, the 8- and 9-year-olds, how do you put some of the boxing terminology into words that they can understand and kind of work with them to teach them the early goings of boxing?
I mean, basically, we really don't change much of the boxing termizations up. You don't change it, but everything you do everything that's pretty much your basic in boxing. You're not looking to do a pull counter or something of that nature so early. That's stuff that you're going to have to work on as you're growing in that amateur level. But the way that I put things together with them so they understand it is I try to do everything fun. I try to make the training fun for them, not so much like a drooling, oh my God, this is so rough for me. We're going to push ourselves. We're going to definitely work hard, but we're going to have fun doing it. So and that keeps the kids coming back, and it keeps them interested.
While we have the chance, we'd like to introduce our sponsor for tonight's fights, Wilson's Night Out. Come to Wilson's Night Out, not just for a night out, but for an experience of Caribbean cuisine. Happy hour Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. with specialty drinks. Looking for that certain room to host parties, meetings, social events, and more. Wilson's Night Out is the place to be.
It looks like we changed up the tactics a little bit. He's leading a little bit more with that right hand coming out of the blue corner.
Oh, whoa, that was a good right hand down the pipe there. But again, in the red corner, he's not getting his head offline.
Yeah, it's whack-a-mole. You want to start having him play where his head's just always constantly moving.
Yes.
You got to think the message from the blue corner there was that he's behind through the first 2 rounds. He has to dig himself out of a hole here, and he's coming out showing that.
Yeah, he definitely is. He's definitely pushing the action a little bit more, and he's throwing caution to the wind and just going for it. But yeah, he's having good success, and he's using a little bit more defense as well. Every punch he throws, he's at least covering or moving.
Yes, and I tell you, the kid out of the red corner is getting hit with some big shots, and I think the way the ref is looking at him, he's looking at him like he want to give him a standing 8.
Yeah, he's approaching a little bit closer every time, a combination gets landed. He's looking for something.
A good amount of blood there on the face of Nick Holscher. He's taken some big hits in this one. Mish looking to finish things out here. He started out hot in the third round, looking to deliver a few more shots to get him some extra points on the card.
Nick is pretty bloodied up right now. And again, at this amateur level, that was a nice check hook right there. But at this amateur level, he still has to learn how to get that head off center.
Yeah.
Because I do not want to be going home tonight with with that bloody nose.
So a little bit of an answer back there from the blue corner in the third round, and definitely got to think he made up some ground there. But once again, we'd like to introduce our sponsor for tonight's fights, Wilson's Night Out. Come to Wilson's Night Out, not just for a night out, but for an experience of Caribbean cuisine. Happy hour Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. with celebrity specialty drinks. Looking for that certain room to host parties, meetings, social events, receptions, repasts, and more? Wilson's Night Out is the place to be. So, Lou, we'll start with you. After 3 rounds, who do you think has the advantage in this one?
You know what? I definitely am going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going for the blue corner. He started off very well in the first round. Second round, I could have gone either way. Third round, I definitely think he finished out, with the winner's mentality of I have to do something. I have to, make this go in my favor. And I think he did do that.
And Hiawatha, what's your take after 3 rounds?
Like I said, basically the same. I look at it, that first round, I think Nick out of the red corner took that round. The second round was a toss-up, but I think the blue corner might have edged it out. But we both definitely, we all definitely know that the blue corner won that third round. I mean, I don't think Nick had any more left.
Yeah, I think him just using those long, straight punches for him definitely sealed the deal where, again, too, that blood showing can favor, blue corner over here, just in the judge's eyes alone, where, the ref's starting to linger a little bit more towards red corner to see if something's going on his side.
Our boxers center ring. Let's give Nick and Andrew.
Definitely a bloody face there by Nick Holscher in the red corner, as we will now go to the judge's decision.
And the winner on unanimous decision, boxing out of the blue corner, Andrew Mish.
And it is Andrew Mish in the blue corner, getting the win by unanimous decision. So far, our judges here in the broadcast booth are exactly right.
All right. That was another beautiful performance. They both did something a little bit different. They used their height advantages or disadvantages, to them.
So we have coming up now Xavier Schaefer.
All right, our next bout. It's a 132
Welcome back,
pounds.
ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us here on the Roxamore Sports Network. We're here with Xavier Schaefer and his coach, Hiawatha Hudson. Xavier, came out, your first fight ever. What'd you think about it?
I think it was okay. It was a great fight. I mean, it's all about having fun, and yeah, it's all about having fun.
All right, let me introduce our boxers in a 132 pounds.
And in that first round there, you landed a nice punch, and it looked like it shook your opponent a little bit. What were you thinking after that blow?
In the first round?
The first round.
I was thinking, like, I have to throw more punches. I have to throw more punches, because the obligation of the fight was to throw more punches than he throws.
Okay, and now we'll go to Hiawatha Hudson. What are you most proud of after Xavier's first fight?
The thing I'm mostly proud of is in that first round, he was off balance and he got caught with a shot. and he went back on his gloves. So I look at that, and I told him when he came back to the corner, like, hey, look, that's a round for him. But then I give it to him. He dug deep inside. You know what I mean? It showed me the heart of this little kid. He dug deep down inside, and he came back, and he took both the second and the third round.
All right, well, Xavier, congratulations on your first win. And Coach Hudson, thank you for joining us once again. We'll now take you to the ring for the next fight. Thanks, buddy.
All right, starting it off again here. Another one of Gloria's fighters. Gloria's Boxing Gym's fighters.
So we now go to the next fight, 132 pounds in the cadet weight class with Matt Flannelly out of Malden City Boxing. He'll be in the blue corner going against Jacob Connolly out of Gloria's Boxing Gym. So we come back live here on the Roxamore Sports Network. Lou, we're going a little bit younger, a little bit lighter. What are you expecting here in this bout?
You know, for 132 pounds, I see a lot of high-speed punching, but with a lot of accuracy as well. They seem to be falling short. They're still figuring out a little bit of distance here, but they've already started making up for it, and they're starting to connect really well now, too. So we'll see if it continues.
A nice connection there by Matt Flannelly, once again, out of Maiden City Boxing. See him in the blue corner, a little bit taller, a little bit longer reach than his opponent. And he's using that there, throwing some nice punches from far away.
He definitely is. And also, too, what I like about seeing from the blue corner is when he's using that back foot, he's giving the impression that, you know, there's a lot more distance than there is. He's using that long, high guard, and he's going for gusto right now.
Piling on the punches there at the end of the first round. Coach Hudson, what do you think about that aggressive nature out of the blue corner in the first round?
I think that was what you call effective aggressiveness. I mean, he landed a lot of big shots, and you can tell he's loading up right now. When he had him over in the corner over there, he hit him with a big right hook, and like it literally lift 1 foot off the ground. The kid was like leaning literally in the ropes when he hit him with that big shot. So that tells me that he's sitting down on a lot of his punches.
So great punch placement there by Flannelly in the first round. Once again, his opponent, Jacob Connolly out of Gloria's Boxing Gym. You can tell a little bit of experience coming out of the blue corner. You can tell this isn't his first fight.
Absolutely, this is not his first rodeo. And for him to be throwing, you know, with power in both hands, that's a pretty good feat for his age as well.
Flannelly doing a good job dropping down low, avoiding the jabs there from the red corner. And once again, nice combination punches out of the blue corner.
Missed a little big with that one, but he made up for it by being out of the way.
Connolly in the red corner, still hanging in there, looking for his punches, looking for an opening for a big shot.
Yeah, he might have had a little bit more success with that overhand right he threw if he would have maybe threw a double jab before that, you know, set something up, blind him a little bit. But it was a nice check hook. Red corner kind of caught it. It was right on the glove, but it's good defense, good punching.
Big right hand just misses there. Flannelly maybe a little bit tired here in the second round. He's definitely slowing down the pace that he had in the first.
Yeah, and you know what? Also, missing that big with that right hand doesn't help you because it takes more energy to miss than actually connecting. So he should really settle down and start setting up that right hand if he wants it that bad.
Yes. And I don't know if the blue corner took the first half of this round off, but it seemed like he's starting to turn it up a little bit. That was a nice left hook. Like, oh.
So some action here late in the second round. Flannelly, oh, nice body straight to the head.
That was a beautiful setup, you know, body ahead, and it finished off beautifully for him. So I think he just closed out this round.
Tries to finish him off here at the end of the second round. And we'd like to introduce you to our next sponsor for tonight's fights in Big Rock and RAC Cleaning, a 5-star cleaning company rated by the people for both residential and commercial cleaning. If you're looking for regular maid service or even a one-time clean, office clean, or even a post-construction clean, look no further. Big Rock and RAC Cleaning is the company for you. To inquire, call 412-203-8213. We'd also like to thank the Hill District Federal Credit Union. The Hill District Federal Credit Union has serviced the community for almost 50 years. Our purpose is to improve the financial health of our members so that they are not just surviving but thriving. For information on how to become a member, please stop in at 2021 Center Avenue, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, or give us a call at 412-281-0822. And Hiawatha will take it to you. You're impressed with that right-handed combination there to end the second round. 2 shots to the body and then 1 to the head. What were you thinking there?
It was just basically climbing the ladder. He started with the body shot, and then he started body, then he went a little higher, then he went straight to the chin. So that shot, the way you throw in that shot, I look at it, I like calling it the Mickey Ward shot. Go downstairs and then come back upstairs. So I mean, I was very impressed with those shots.
So I'd say we can all agree that Matt Flannelly in the blue corner has a commanding lead here going into the final round. The cadet weight class, 132 pounds, and another right hand as well shakes him into the ropes.
He's trying to finish this out big. And if he keeps up that pace with a little bit of momentum, pull off the gas a little bit more momentum, he could actually get it.
Now we're going to get a standing 8 count, making sure the red corner here in Connolly is okay.
I think that was a good stoppage right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Good standing 8.
Yeah, kids getting tagged so much, you got to give them a breather, and it's the ref's job to protect the kids.
Now Flannelly looking for a finish here in the final round. They get tied up. Step apart, now back to action.
Seeing a little fatigue combinations coming out of them right now.
So a little bit of an answer after the standing 8 count. Red corner giving some life. But still, it's Flannelly, the technician, doing a good job of moving his body and landing some shots. Flannelly just missing there with that big right hand over the top of his head, as we're just seconds away from the finish of the third round. You can tell both fighters a little bit gassed there to end this fight.
Yeah, they were throwing with some authority behind all those punches, so, reasonably so. At the end of the fight, they should kind of feel a little tired, a little out of it. But, again, I would definitely go with blue corner for this one. He dominated all 3 rounds.
And Hiawatha, I think we're all going to say the blue corner took that one. What did you like from his fighting style in that bout there?
The thing I did like about it, I like that he's aggressive, but he's effective with it. And then too, he knows, and it showed me that in that second round, if you look at it, he took the first half of that round off. He took the first half, and then he finished strong to take the round. I mean, you could show it, he was just resting up. You know what I mean? He was just resting up. And I look at it, when you're doing something like that in the amateurs, it just shows me that you are aware of what is actually going on in the ring.
Ready?
So once again, we are going to the decision. In the red corner, it was Jacob Connolly out of Gloria's Boxing Gym against Matt Flannelly out in the blue corner out of Maiden City Boxing at 132 pounds.
937-053.
In Hiawatha, I talked with Lou earlier about the big fight coming up tonight. What's your predictions on Wilder versus Fury Part 2?
Wow, that's gonna be a good fight. I feel if Fury do exactly what he said he's going to do, and step in the ring, call Wilder to the middle, and say let's bring it, then I think that's the wrong move.
The wrong move.
The wrong move. I think what Fury need to do is go back to boxing the way that he did, and maybe in the later rounds try to pick it up to take him out. But if he stands in front of Wilder, Wilder has the equalizer to any fighter that's out there, and that's power.
And we did also hear Fury talking about trying to get in closer with Wilder. Of course, Wilder has an unhuman-like reach with almost basketball-like wingspan. You think he has a better chance getting in tight against Wilder?
I think Fury would be smart to get inside. Now he's avoiding that power.
Yeah, we've never really seen like what kind of leverage.
Let's give both these gentlemen a good round of applause.
So the unanimous decision, the winner, Jacob Connolly out of Glorious Boxing Gym. Once again, we're going to go to a quick commercial break and bring you right back to the live boxing action from the Monroeville Mall. We'll be right back. We are back and live here from the Pennsylvania Golden Gloves Boxing, here live from the Monroeville Mall and on the Roxamore Sports Network. Next up, we have the Sub-novice semifinal coming in at 141 pounds. In the red corner, we have Walker Branch from Jack's Gym, and in the blue corner, Brady Sherlock from Steel Valley. And guys, we've seen a few fighters from Steel Valley already. You think we're going to see some of the same strategies coming in with this boxer?
You know, they're pretty close in height, so we'll definitely have to see. You know, the first round can always be kind of a coin toss on what happens whenever you really don't know the two fighters, but he does have a good following, so we'll see what happens, and we'll go from the adjustment points on there. For the first round, though, it's definitely back to using your jab, using your feet, moving around, and seeing what you can make of it.
I agree.
So once again, before we get started, this is the Sub-novice semifinal, 141 pounds, Walker Branch in red, Brady Sherlock in blue, and here we go.
They spent no time on feeling each other out.
Yes, Brady landed a good overhand against him. Brady's busy. He is definitely busy.
His style reminds me of something like a Jack Dempsey kind of deal, where he's leaning forward a little bit more, he's coming forward, and then when he gets there, he just unleashes.
Yes, like that.
Sherlock coming out with the fast hands, both fighters exchanging punches early on.
Yes, the red corner just, that was a good setup. But the thing is, I'm looking at the red corner. He has to try to throw as the blue corner is throwing, because if not, he's just gonna eat a lot of shots. So with a fighter that's busy like that, you got to try to catch him in between his punches.
Yeah, you got to definitely stay tighter on those punches too, because, you know, what blue corner's doing is he's swinging a little wide for the outside of his body, where you can shoot right up the middle in there and potentially do some work to at least get him to go back and rethink coming in like that.
And Brady Sherlock, they're telling him to keep his hands up after a couple of low blows. And we kind of see him, he's a smaller fighter height-wise, so he kind of shrinks down, hunches over, and some of those punches are landing just a little bit too low.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, the red corner is landing a good jab. It's just he's not putting enough on it to keep him at bay.
Walker Branch trying to bring the right hand around, didn't connect on it though.
That was a good one too that he landed out of the red corner.
Now we see him working against each other on the ropes.
You know, I like seeing from red corner, too, is he's utilizing a little bit of that up jab.
Yes.
Whenever he sees him leaning forward just that little bit, he's not throwing a direct uppercut, but it's just enough to sneak on in.
All right, well, we just proved the 50-50.
So we saw a lot of flair and fast punches there out of the blue corner. Do you think he had the advantage there in the first round?
You know what? It's back to that little bit of effective aggressiveness where when blue's throwing those combinations, red's also firing back. You know, he might wait a second or two, but he is returning fire. So it all depends on what the judges like seeing more. They could like seeing a kid that just throws a lot, or they could see a kid that is counter. It all depends what they like to see. I personally would like to see a little bit more countering out of the red corner, and if he can throw with a little bit more authority, he can definitely make blue rethink throwing those combinations the way he was.
So Lou, while you're with us, we'll talk a little bit more about your boxing career. Of course, you're 2-0 right now with a unanimous decision in your first fight in the later parts of 2017. Your last fight coming in a knockout. What's coming up for you? What's your training schedule look like? And when can we be expecting to see you fighting again?
Well, we're here with Coach Hutchinson. We're in the gym pretty much, I mean, every day. And also, too, my other coach, Steve Upshore, whose gym is out in South Park, you know, so I'll get with him every day, too. And, you know, we just kind of keep grinding out for it, and we're trying to make the best of it. You know, whether we have to fight on the road or fight at home, either way, we're still ready for it. So by May, we should definitely be back in the ring.
All right, that's what we like to hear. So we come back out a little bit slower here from the blue corner. He has him in the corner, definitely want to get out of there. Now he allows him out. So once again, Walker Branch in the red, Brady Sherlock in the blue. Sherlock came out fast. He's definitely slowed down a little bit here in the second round.
Yes, I don't know if Sherlock can keep that pressure going. Like as you can see, with the fatigue, his body he's starting to get a little sloppy with his punches. I mean, but the thing though, I mean, the one thing is he's standing right there in front of him to be hit. It's just if you're going to stand there, you best to let your hands go. And as you can see, like right here, like the kid out of the red corner, hands are a lot faster. And he's picking him apart right now because the kid out of the blue is leaning forward, so his head is so much closer to him than he want to be.
And with Sherlock, his punches more rapid fire in the red corner. With Walker Branch, we see more of a meticulous strategy there, and it definitely helped him out in the second round.
Anthony is going to be holding up one of the Golden Gloves 2020 shirts. They're on sale at that. $13, please. Help support the cause, help support the Golden Gloves and the Western.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome our sponsor from the single Worldwide. Get your copy today of the newly released single Worldwide by Boona and all digital stores for just $1. Go to Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, and more to get your copy of Worldwide today.
So a great Christmas gift for the boxers' mothers.
So, gentlemen, so far, a pretty evenly matched fight. Who do you believe has the advantage going into the final and third round, and who needs to make up some ground here?
I'm definitely going to give it to the red corner just because he's utilizing everything as far as range-wise and when it comes in close. You know, he's still throwing when they're in close, and he's utilizing all of his long punches. What blue really should do is focus on not leaning forward so much to be susceptible to so many shots, and start trying to slow down the pace with those, you know, just those rapid punches, and start trying to place them a little bit better.
Yes, I agree. But I think right now it's giving him a little bit of rest, so he should be taking his time right here to rest, get them arms loose so he can start letting them go again. But hopefully he can keep these arms pumping for this third round. Because as you can see, the kid out of the red corner, you can tell he's a little more energetic right now. Oh, nice uppercut.
And that's going back to that head leaning a little bit forward where it's right there.
Once again, we're here, the sub-novice semifinal, 141 pounds, Walker Branch in red, Brady Sherlock in blue, and Sherlock got that rest, and he's come out ready here in the third and final round.
I tell you, the red corner is literally hitting him with a lot of good shots, and he's placing the shots as well. As you can see, it's not like he's just winging all kind of shots. Like, he's literally placing them in between the gloves, outside of the gloves, like that right there. And the other thing too, he's throwing shots, but he's getting his head off line. So even if the kid throw to where his head would be, he's not there.
Tight boxing in the far corner here in the semifinal. And Walker Branch in red just remaining calm as he has all fight. Nice composure by this young man.
Yes, Walker is showing a lot of poise. Yeah, I knew they was going to call that.
Yeah, the push is just a sign of fatigue. It's like, I'm tired. I got to get some space and get a breathing room.
Yes. You know, when there's fire in the house, I mean, you want to get out, right? oh, nice.
Nice uppercut there with that right hand. And Walker Branch starting to separate himself here in this third round.
Yeah, you know what I like about his uppercut is he's definitely mixing it in. He's not throwing it the same way. He'll throw a left hook, uppercut, right hand, uppercut, left hook.
Some high action there at the end of the third round by both fighters there on the ropes, just exchanging them back and forth.
Yes. It still doesn't change my opinion. I definitely think Red is definitely walking away unanimous on this one.
So you say unanimous? No, just kidding, guys. But that was a good fight. That was a good fight. The kid out of the blue did not give up. You know, I think he came out too fast in that first round.
Working with the kids for a long time. He's now risen to the professional ranks.
And as a coach, how do you kind of teach someone to slow it down when they need to, not to come out 110 miles per hour and burn themselves out early? What's your coaching techniques to kind of walk them through that?
Basically, that's a conversation that you're having with your fighter right before, like a little bit before the match. You're telling them, listen, look, especially if you know your fighter is a come forward, all out fighter. You're like, listen, we're gonna pace ourselves for this first round because you're looking not to gas out in a 3-round fight. So you have to keep illustrating that, guys. You gotta relax. You gotta stay poised. You gotta just let's take the fight as it comes, and then that second and third round we're gonna turn it up. But I mean, that's just something that you gotta just keep driving that home with your fighters.
So well spoken by Coach Hiawatha Hudson out of Boyce Gymnasium as we go to the decision. Once again, a reminder, this is the sub-novice semifinal, 141 pounds. Walker Branch in the red corner and Brady Sherlock in the blue corner.
Boxing out of the red corner from Jackson.
In the red corner, gets the win from Jack's Gym. Congratulations to Walker Branch. Big smile on his face, and he definitely earned that win tonight.
Yes, he did.
He deserved that win. I mean, like for at this level right here, he impressed me a lot by the way he picked his shots.
Yeah, he turned down the heat a little bit and he started actually just stirring it.
Just stir the pot.
Yeah, don't burn it, stir it.
You know, without Gloria, she works real hard.
And while we have the chance coming up before the next fight, we'd like to remind you to follow the Roxamore Sports Network on all of our social media platforms. You can follow us on Facebook, like us and follow us on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, download our Roxamore Events app, and make sure that you tune into our website at www.roxamoresports.com. Click on the schedule tab to be aware of what all is going on in the Roxamore Sports Network. We have a lot of boxing coming up on the schedule, so make sure you stay tuned for that and then going into the high school spring athletic season.
We have some great boxing.
So we're getting ready. Couple bigger fighters here checking in at over 200 pounds. How does boxing change once you start getting to the heavyweights now, especially in amateur divisions?
You want me to take that, or you want the pro fighter, Luella?
I'm going to let you take it. You go ahead.
Okay. I look at it, when you come from the smaller guys to the bigger guys, I look at it like this. Power is a big key. And with the bigger guys, any shot can take you out. The right shot can take you out at any time because of the power that these guys have. And the kid right here out of the red corner, like I saw him in the back doing the mitts. Now, I don't know what his stamina is like, but I definitely know he got a lot of pop in his punches. So I'm looking forward to this fight here. He was talking to me in the back. He was congratulating Lil X, but as he was doing the pads. But I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to see his technique. But again, from that smaller weight class coming up to the big boys, I call it the heavyweight the big boys. The big boys got a lot of pop.
And both of these guys, they're certainly not dead weight, two cut, athletic-looking fighters coming in at above 200 pounds. Lou, what do you think about it?
Yeah, watching a couple of the podcasts last night on, these heavyweight guys, when you get over 200 pounds, you would think that they would kind of be a little out of shape, a little sloppy, but it's not the case anymore, Seem to be in shape. But again, like Hathawatha was saying, was like, you get to that higher weight class, we'll see, like, what happens, how long they can hang with that kind of steam.
So the final card here from Pennsylvania, Golden Gloves Boxing, Zachary Queen in the red corner and Connor McIntyre in the blue corner. Here we go.
That's all I'm saying, Coach Boo.
Both fighters coming out a little bit slower, a little bit more meticulous, looking to find that open opportunity. Oh, a nice left-handed jab there. Caught him straight on the head.
Oh, that was a good right hand.
So doing a good job keeping distance, back and forth, both looking for open shots. Some sneaky speed here out of the hands in the red corner for Zachary Queen.
They're doing really well too. So for these bigger guys, they're definitely taking their time and utilizing it well.
I don't know if the kid's out of the blue corner. He's waiting on him to gas or waiting to take over the second round. That was a good right hand there, but I don't know what his deal of waiting. But I look at it. You only got 2 rounds to get to work and get your thing off. Good right hand. So now, like I said, maybe he was waiting.
McIntyre in blue, Queen in red.
Yeah, and the other thing I notice about a lot of the big guys today, they're not slow. Yeah. Like the big guys today, they're super athletic, man. I mean, like I don't know if it's something in the water or what, but but they're definitely super athletic now. You're not looking at like big and slow. Yeah. You're looking at big and athletic now.
So the end of the first round, like Mr. Hudson mentioned, in the blue corner, Connor McIntyre started out a little bit too slow for his liking, not looking necessarily for the right shots. What do you think are the best ways to adjust the blue corner? Would you like to see him come out in the second a little bit more aggressive?
Yes, I definitely would like to see him come out a little more aggressive. I mean, again, like if you're going to be aggressive, now you take your time, because as you can see, the kid out of the red corner isn't throwing a lot of wild punches. So at this weight class, you know what I mean, you pick your shots, you know what I mean, and if you're going to sit down on some shots, you sit down on it, but throw with your head offline, because you never want a kid this size catch you flush coming in like that. So I'm hoping that the blue corner is telling the coach out of the blue corner is telling him be just a little more aggressive and let your hands go a little more.
So here we go, round 2, the final bout of the evening, 201 pounds in the sub-novice semifinal. Picky with their shots once again, and we see a little bit more activity out of McIntyre. Nice left there by Queen, caught him with a left-handed jab once again.
I'm wondering how long is the ref going to allow that body shot before he tell him to raise that shot up a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder why Red keeps flashing that overhand right to him, but he's not throwing it or setting it up for anything.
Yeah, he's definitely showing it. Like he's definitely showing it. He's just not pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
McIntyre trying to bring it in a little bit closer, but Queen countering right back.
And the thing, like as you can see, the red corner, he's throwing that jab, and he's coming in with the jab. But as you can see, he's bending his arm. So you're taking you're taking your right hand out of the punch by bending that arm coming in with the jab. Because now you're too close to throw that too. Only way you're going to land something is you throw an uppercut there.
Yeah. Also, too, that as muscular as they look, it could be, you know, their arms are too tight.
Yeah.
A little bit of lactic acid building up in the muscles there, which you see in training, but of course your training comes through in your fights, and definitely that could be a factor for both of these boxers.
Yeah, definitely loosen up a little bit on the weights.
So McIntyre showing a little bit of life there in both corners, exhibiting some fast punches to end the second round. So we got one more round left. Once again, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Wilson's Night Out. Come to Wilson's Night Out, not just for a night out, but for an experience of Caribbean cuisine. Happy hour Monday through Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. with specialty drinks. Looking for that certain room to host parties, meetings, social events, receptions, repast, and more? Wilson's Night Out is the place to be. So after 2 rounds, we got one more left. Who do you think needs to make up the most ground coming into this final round?
Of all the matches we have this evening. I also want to thank
A little more ground. I don't know if he took this round, that second round off, but to me, he didn't press like he did in the first round. So again, that could come from fatigue.
So a lot to prove for both of these fighters. The winner goes pounds for these two athletes.
Oh, that's a nice hook that he's throwing. The red corner is throwing a nice check hook there. That was a little wide, but.
Yeah, he wants to keep the distance a little bit more now, but I think he's got a little bit of a hole to dig himself out of, where he might actually have to push the action and stand there and trade a little bit.
Yes. Ooh, good body shot. Oh, that hurt too. As you can see, did you see how he's, ooh, wow, yes. I would say that's a good standing eight.
Yeah. What that does for the opposite fighter is it kind of gives him a little bit more life to go for it.
And now McIntyre looking for the finish here in the late parts of this third round. You can tell both fighters starting to get a little bit tired, but McIntyre is still just looking for that opportunity to finish him off.
Oh, nice uppercut.
And this is what we're talking about, those heavier weight classes where, you know, now you're kind of in the trenches. You know, anything could happen at this moment, but they should just maintain good defense and let their punches go, but just kind of be a.
Yes, I tell you, I think with the red corner, like fatigue really set in. But to eat big shots like that, the body shot is what started that onslaught. He gave him 2 body shots, and you could see that left hand drop a little bit. Once that left hand dropped, it was like calling the right hand through, you know.
And as fighters progress, learning how to finish is one thing that is really opportune, going from amateur to professional boxing. What would have been your advice there for McIntyre if you were in his corner to try and get the finish with the knockout to finish that fight?
You know, if he wanted to go for the knockout, he should have continued flooding the basement. By what I say that is he could have continued to hit him to the body to where he got those hands to drop down more and more to protect himself to the body, and he could have finished him off to the head, or he could have got a body stoppage. And I don't think a lot of people understand like how much damage you can do when you hit a guy to the body, where you can completely debilitate him to where he just checks out. Is to bend your knees and just start flooding the basement.
So you know we had a good fight. Both fighters bloody after the 201-pound matchup. Once again, Zachary Queen in the red corner out of Jack's Gym, and then Connor McIntyre in the blue corner out of Wright's Gym. McIntyre with an onslaught of punches there late in the third round. In the final fight, what's your opinion on a winner?
My final opinion on this winner for this last one, I'm definitely giving it to Blue.
So both boxers come in as we have the final decision in the fight from Monroeville, Pennsylvania. We'll be right back.
We're standing room only crowd, and we will be back here next week.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Roxamore Sports Network here in the Pennsylvania Golden Gloves Boxing. Travis Newton alongside Lou McClamey and Hiawatha Hudson. We'd like to welcome you back. An exciting first day of boxing. So Lou, we'll start with you. What are your big takeaways after day one?
You know, I'm really impressed by the amateur skill level for all these guys. A lot of them were their first time fighting, and they all showed a lot of poise, and they kept themselves together, you know, matter it was win or lose. So they kept it really well together, and I definitely liked that. That was my biggest takeaways. They showed boxing education.
And Hiawatha, you had a first-time fighter coming in Xavier. Of course, he got the win. What do you got to say about these young guys coming and showing out today? Some of them their first ever boxing fights.
Yeah, I agree with Lou. What I've really seen is Pittsburgh boxing starting to elevate a little bit, because a lot of these fighters was their first fight, and they fought with poise and they fought with skill. It wasn't just like go in there and just throw punches on wild. I can see now that the Pittsburgh boxing, this boxing game is starting to elevate to where now you're getting a lot of skill at an early level at the amateur ranks.
And we've talked about it before. Where do you think Pittsburgh is now as far as boxing goes, and where do you think it could be in the near future with some big-name guys here coming in and making their impact?
Well, I think right now Pittsburgh is in a good position, you know what I mean? And like it's a couple guys here in the Pittsburgh area that, you know what I mean, that's promoters now, and they're looking to put on bigger shows here in the Pittsburgh area. So, I mean, I look at it, Pittsburgh boxing is definitely elevating to that level to where it's going to be some eyes pulled onto the city. So what I'm definitely looking forward to seeing a lot of these fighters like Lou, and like you got Richie Catalina, you got Johnny Spells. I mean, you got a lot of these fighters out here that's really picking this thing up and putting it on their shoulders. And I mean, and I'll say this to you right here. I applaud you guys for the work that you guys have put in and the things that you guys are doing for Pittsburgh boxing.
Yeah, I definitely want to say that. Like in the past years, Pittsburgh was really divided. But if they can come together as a team, wherever they go over to, Philly or any of the national tournaments, if they come together as a team and help build each other, the possibilities are endless from there. So I definitely would love to see that coming from the amateurs moving forward.
And Lou, as we talked about earlier, obviously your story was a little bit different coming into boxing. What would you say is the best advice that you could give to these young boxers going through the amateur circuit?
Is treat it like school, study. Boxing just doesn't end because you left the gym. It translates into life as well, so you need to use that throughout everything in your life, and it'll just make you a better person and a better fighter. So,
all right, and it looks like we have Connor McIntyre here behind us. We'll go ahead and get him in. Connor, thank you for joining us. Congratulations on the win. So got off to a little bit of you were a little bit nervous in there in the ring, but you figured things out. What was your strategy coming after the first round?
Strategy after the first round was he's got points on me, I got to make it up. That's pretty much it.
And obviously you took a hard hit to the face, a little bit of blood on the nose there. How'd you react coming to your corner and a little bit of blood and then coming out in the later rounds?
Oh, I knew it was going to happen. So I figured it's just blood. I got most of it in my body. I'm just going to power through it.
And then in that final round, you got the 2 standing 8 counts. What do you attribute to those? You had a couple of nice combos. Just what was your mindset coming in the final round, knowing you maybe had a little bit of ground to make up?
Yeah, I was just trying to see, evaluate Zach and see how he was doing. He looked gassed, so I figured I'd take advantage and go a little bit further at him. His jabs weren't as hard in that third round, so I took advantage of that and really hit him.
All right, Connor, once again, we'd like to thank you for joining us here on the Roxamore Sports Network. Great job today, and good luck throughout the rest of your Golden Gloves boxing.
Appreciate it.
So we will sign off here from the Roxamore Sports Network. An exciting day of boxing from the Pennsylvania Golden Glove Circuit. Once again, we'd like to thank our guest in Hiawatha, Hudson, and Luke.